a worthless human being.
After that episode I just did the other day, I ended up at LA Comedy Club tonight. Let's get unbothered about it.
Everything bothers him.
All the comics can go ahead and leave now.
He's unbothered.
Take your alligator.
He calls it unbothered, but
Angie, bye.
that's what's cute.
I just got a huge casting call.
Because everything bothers him. He's bothered. I'm a botherina.
I feel very sad today. Comedians, do you think I'm funny? A certain comic with a podcast took a private conversation and used it for his material. I used to respect this person, but not anymore. If making fun of me make you feel better about yourself, then I feel sorry for you. Just because he don't think I'm funny doesn't mean I'm not. Comedy is suggestible. I work very hard. I'm constantly writing new material. I go to all the open mics. I watch and support many shows and promote them when I can. Everyone knows this. If I get booked on a show that doesn't pay, I would do it. I love comedy. I would do the shows just for the stage time. I'm always grateful and humble for any opportunity that comes my way. However, that does not mean I'm not worthy enough to get a paid spot on a paying show. I believe in myself. I'm confident in my abilities. I think I'm just as good a comic as anyone else. I've been at it for a few years. I didn't start yesterday. Being a female comedian is hard. You gotta try harder to get noticed. I'm doing the best I can. I went through many tragedies in life. I'm suffering with MS. It's just very sad that if you say one word to a person, it ruffles their feathers. If I get booked on a show, I hope that person really likes me and enjoys my comedy. I don't want to be booked because they feel sorry for me or they think they're doing me a favor. All right, that was Summer Sinclair's victim statement from the podcast I put out the other day, which I'm not going to pretend I really care about that. I'm not going to pretend I feel bad about it. I'm not going to pretend I'm being a bully. Technically, I hate bullies, and that's why I called Summer out. I don't hate the sinner, I hate the sin. And Summer really was trying to make herself seem like the victim of me and AJ, like we had taken advantage of her and she deserves to be paid and whatever else. Good luck. Find everything you need. I don't care. Be happy. Be blessed. I am not at all hating on anybody, especially Summer Sinclair. Today I had somebody hit me up and try to act like you only pick on women. Did you miss the part when I talked about Sean Fitzsimmons? Because there's a whole episode that's going to be coming out about Sean Fitzsimmons. I don't know if that's going to be this episode because I don't know what I really want to talk about. I know I ended up at LA Comedy Club tonight, which if you listen to the last episode, you know that I didn't have the most glowing review of what's going on at the LA Comedy Club and how I feel about those guys. But the thing was, there was a show that I was invited to be at. Leah Mendez was running it, and it was an all-female show. Butch Bradley helped produce it, and of course the guys Matt and Joaquin from the LA Comedy Club. On the show is going to be Kitty Pineapple, who I'm friends with, just took her on the road. Kimberly Clark, who I've been friends with for probably, well, I don't know if Kim wants us to age her that way or wants me to age ourselves that way. That's the way you would put it. So I'm not going to tell you how many years, but I've known Kimberly Clark for years. Nikki Carr, who I love and respect, and Kira Sultanovich, who I've been seeing forever. I'm very cautious in the way that I address my relationship with Kira Sultanovich because we are friendly, but I would never want to lie to you guys and be like, we're besties, we're friends, you know, we're friendly, we're very friendly, very professional, very cordial. I very much like what she does. I've liked what she does for a long time now. She headlined the shit out of that show tonight. Leah did a great job, and LA Comedy Club and Butch Bradley, for that matter, all of them combined efforts did a really good job of getting a really great audience in that room. All the women killed it. I mean, like, it really was just a great show from start to finish. I watched as an audience member. I did go ahead and message them earlier today so they could ready the cannons or whatever. Whatever it is they have to do when, I decide to come in. And like, some people wouldn't understand why I would even hit them up to let them know that I'm coming in. And it's because the last time that I just popped up there, even though I was invited just like I was tonight, like, it wasn't, not that I wouldn't have gone to this show because I love Kimberly Clark and I would have liked to have seen her. But if I hadn't been personally invited by more than one person, I wouldn't have shown up at the show. Just because I know what I've said about them. I know how I feel about them. I know I don't want to have a very surface conversation with them because
a lot of people may think that I'm maybe being petty about this or something like that, but it's really not. It's nothing petty when you go into an actual comedy club as a professional, a comedy club that you are invited to be at, and you get attacked. Like, that's not supposed to happen. And I know, like I said, that some people will act like I'm being petty about that, but really, it's just not supposed to be a thing. Like, we as professionals should be able to be around each other and not have that turn into somebody being attacked. And so I've never done that in my life, and like that's not even been my relationship with the LA Comedy Club. So the fact that that happened, and when it happened, I got treated like I had done something wrong, even though I had done absolutely nothing to provoke that. Like, that's one thing you'll notice in every story about that situation, whether it's me telling it or somebody that was there, it was completely unprovoked. And so I go ahead and give them the courtesy of letting them know. So if there's going to be anybody there like that, or if they're going to try to make a situation out of it, then you can just send me a text and say, hey, don't be here. You're not welcomed here. That kind of thing. That wasn't the conversation we had. It was very brief. I just let them know that I was considering going because I had been invited, and I wanted to find out if that was going to be a problem for them. They said that I was always welcome there to watch shows, and that was what transpired as far as that went. When I went, I sat like a regular audience member, and I really enjoyed the show because of that, because I wasn't with the comics in the back. There weren't really a lot of comics in the back. This was my first time checking out the new room for LA Comedy Club. It is a nice room, and I really do wish those guys well, and I hope that eventually we end up talking that out and getting it all figured out, because really, I do feel like they completely mishandled that situation, and like nothing will change on that. Like, were there parts of the stuff leading up to that situation that I could have done better in? Yes, 100%. I would not deny that. But also, I like to learn and grow from the things that happen to me and the things that I make happen in certain cases. So I'm not going to sit in victim mentality and be like, oh, this was just completely them against me. And it was like, yeah, there was kind of a lot of railroading going on, and that's just 100% the way it went down. And that's why I don't really respect them maybe as much as they would think that I should. But at a point, I don't care what you own. I don't care who you are. It's just you're fucking up. And if you're fucking up with me, I'm definitely going to be honest about that, and I'm not going to pretend it's not happening or pretend it happened the way that it didn't happen. You know, that's just not what I'm here for. That's not what I'm trying to be. But at the same time, if I go to your venue, I will respect that it is your venue, that is your home base, and I'm not going to come in and give you attitude or act shitty with you. I said hello to both Matt and Joaquin, like gave a wave or whatever, but you know, I know that the conversations that I would want to have with either of them or both of them together would be a very real conversation. So if they wanted to be like, hey, Ty, how are you? I'd be like, nah, let's not do that. So the way I deal with that is I just stay away. And if I had to talk to them, if I had to be in the same circle as them at a particular point, I would be able to like maintain my professionalism and not, you know, turn it into a conversation that they didn't want to have, but I would rather not put myself in that position. You know, we're cordial, we're cool, we say hi. Like I said, I did used to be actual friends with them, so I don't think a lot of people fully understand that part of it. Like, I've been hanging out with the LA Comedy Club guys, well, not hanging out with them, working for them for 10 years now, or maybe just over 10 years now. Yeah, I think just over 10 years, closer to 11 years now, if I remember correctly. And I've been working for them for so long that I remember when they did have to ask me to hold checks. You know, like that happened more than once. And I was a ride or die with them, you know, like technically the way the whole situation went down with Gooch, if I had been out to get LA Comedy Club, I would have went immediately to talk to a lawyer because I did legitimately get hurt. Their security was legitimately right in the room, allowed it to happen for I don't know what reason. Maybe some of who was acting as security secretly didn't like me. I thought I was friends with pretty much everybody in the room except for Brandon Gooch Hahn. That's the only person that I wasn't what you could call friends with at that point. And we had been friends in the past, and I didn't know he was still holding on to that really because, like I said before, it had been 4 months between the time we had any kind of run-in and when he decided to throw his tantrum. Like, that's just the timeline of it. So I'm sorry if I'm a grown adult enough that I'm not worried about shit that happened 4 months ago. What happened 4 months ago was 4 months ago. If I run into you, you're there, you're not there. What do I care? I'm not going to make a thing of it. I'm not going to suddenly throw a tantrum and pretend like I want to fight you or anything like that. And especially put my hands on anybody. I mean, like, even me going tonight when I went to, and it took no real self-restraint or whatever. I just, didn't really fuck with Matt and Joaquin like that. Like I said, we said a quick hello. That was about the extent of it. I wasn't going to try to force anything on them that they don't want. I am moving right now as Thai Rivera, the professional, Thai Rivera, the entity. That's what's going on. Like, I'm not just out here being a person right now. I wish that was the case. Really, I don't, because I really like the way life is turning out for me. And I know that that really bothers some people because some people feel like, well, we've said Ty's not a good person. We've said Ty's not allowed to work. Well, guess what? You don't run the world. Like, you don't really make those decisions. So why would I pretend that I feed into that or that I buy into that when I really just don't? There's no part of me that feels like the people that are mad at me right now are controlling my life. Like, when it comes to Fitzy, there's a very particular reason, well, a few very particular reasons that I don't like him. One of the reasons that I don't particularly care for him is because he tries to gatekeep, and he's not funny enough, he's not talented enough, he's not good enough to gatekeep. And that's not me being mean, that's not me just saying something, it's just the talent isn't there like that. Some people are naturally talented, some people are not. And so if you're in the not pile, don't try to keep other people out, especially other people that maybe somebody like me thinks is a little more on the talented side. And if you say, like, that I'm trying to kind of lord over people, or I'm trying to say that I'm better than people, or I think that I'm better than people, let me be very clear about that. I don't think I'm better than people. I know that I'm better than a lot of people. That's just what it is. I'm not going to pretend for you. I'm not going to act like I'm particularly humble about it, because I am, but then I'm not, because I feel like the gifts God gave me, he would like for me to let people see. That's what it is. And I will be fun. I am not at all trying to be the coolest guy in the room all the time when I go up doing stand-up. I don't mind being silly. I don't mind being goofy. I don't mind having fun just for the sake of having fun. I don't mind if you want me to do crowd work, so you really won't let me do that much material. As long as you're being fun and you want a fun time, I'm going to give you a fun time. And that's what my job is. And so I am very good at my job because I accept fully what my job is. And like I said, I'm not trying to be anything that you're not supposed to be when it comes to being the comic. Like I said, I'm under no pressure to be the coolest guy in the room. I've just got to be the funniest, the most entertaining, and I only have to be that while I'm on stage. I'm not competing with other comics. I'm not worried about other comics. Yes, like I said, by nature, I am going to be better than a lot of people. That's just what it is. People that are smart accept my greatness and accept that I accept their greatness as well, because I'm very entertained about a lot of what I see on the scene. I just happen to be more entertained with what's happening on the street level rather than the club level right now, because if you ask me, a lot of what's going on the club level is kind of like, yeah, that was cool 10 years ago, or that was cool 5 years ago, but you got to keep up. You got to keep up with your updates. You can't just sit on the same act forever and act like you're doing cutting edge stuff. You're not. Maybe you were 5 years ago, but now it's been 5 years and that's not as cutting edge. And so when it comes to people like Fitzy, it's like, I would never compare you to me if you didn't get in my way, if you didn't. And when I say get in my way, I really do mean get in the way of the way that the comedy scene is supposed to be working and the way that it will continue to work, whether or not you try to get in the way. Like, that's you throwing good energy after bad, if you ask me, because you're not ever going to win that. That's just the way it works. Cream rises to the top, and that's going to continue to happen whether or not you try to stand in the way. So if you want to get run over while it's happening, far be it for me to stop you. But if you want to be smart, what you should do is understand what your position is, work as hard as you can on your stand-up, use your room, Fitzy and friends, at the Artifice for leverage so that you can get yourself on other things and get more experience. But instead, Fitzy will choose to do things like go to open mics and just sit there and have drinks. And it's like, are you just looking for people to drink with? Because there's other places you can do that. And Fitzy's a decent looking guy, so he can go do that with pretty much anyone he wants to. He doesn't have to be worried about what's going on the Vegas comedy scene, like, cool, then don't hang out like that. Like, you're just there to be there. I mean, I guess if you're putting money in the till, I don't have a problem with it, to tell you the truth. But at the same time, don't try to gatekeep on people that are probably more talented than you are. Like, it's very frustrating that happens on this scene like that. You know, like, I tried to get a hold of Angie Crum. I haven't been able to talk to her. Like I said, nothing's going to make me mad at her. But there are times where I do think about that part of the email, not the part about me, because I don't care about that. You know, like I said, what I said, I've said twice now, and that really is the way I feel about her talking about me. But as far as when she mentioned that, you know, she's been gone for 7 years, well, the world doesn't stop because you decide to leave for 7 years and everybody holds your place. So that's an unreasonable request to begin with. Now, if you're out there and you're saying, like, people aren't giving me shots that I should be getting, and I'm out there like I should be, then that's one thing. But just to expect that the world's going to stop spinning because you decided to go to LA, that's just not a very realistic request. And I noticed that there's a lot of people on the Vegas scene that have not so realistic requests on what it is they think that's supposed to happen to them, and the order that they think that things are supposed to happen in. You know, like when I talked about Summer Sinclair, I was not at all trying to bully her. I was really trying to drive it home for her that AJ had her back behind the scenes, and then she turned it into, I would like you to book me because you think I'm funny and not because you feel sorry for me. Well, we didn't feel sorry for you. It's just AJ wanted to help you get ahead. That's the way that I've gotten ahead with a lot of things. Is I've met some really great people that were in really high, and, you know, like, I've toured with some of the best comics in the world, best comics in the country, the highest grossing comics in the country. So when you've got people like that like see you and they're like, oh, I see something in you, and then they ask you to do something, that's them trying to see you get ahead. They're not doing that just to give you the money. They're doing it also so that you can get the clout, also so that you can get some leverage, also so that you can get ahead and stand up in general. So I would be stupid to be like, oh, they're booking me because they feel sorry for me. No, that's not what they're doing. Like, now I feel sorry for her, but just because she's not smart enough to grow from her own mistake. And I know that other friends of hers have told her, because they've told me, and the people that have told me are very straight up people. The people that have told me that they've talked to her have been like, yeah, I just tried to tell her that in a polite way what you were saying was true. Like, she has been giving people a hard time, because it's not a matter of her asking for opportunities. That's not something I would ever hold against anybody. We should all ask for opportunities, but it's the way you ask for opportunities. It's the way that you act like people owe you things, or that you're going to corner people, and people aren't going to respond well to that. They're just not. Like, nobody likes being cornered. I had it happen to me not too long ago when I was at OCHA, and it was because somebody wanted to feature, and I got so annoyed with the situation, and in the end, we let them feature, but it turned out to be just as bad as I knew that it was going to be. But it was very annoying to me because in that moment, I have to control myself, because I really just feel like saying, are you completely clueless? Like, why would you try to corner me right now when I'm eating a meal and walk up to me and say, I want a feature? I don't give a fuck what you want. I mean, I want to finish my dinner. That's what I want to do. I'm not worried about what you want. And what do you bring to the room? Like, let's be 100% honest about this. If we're going to talk about what you want, what I want is for you to make sure that my room's packed out if I'm supposed to celebrate the fact that it's your birthday or whatever the fuck it is. Like, that's the way I come at it. And I'm not trying to be mean, but that's just the way I see it. I see it as, you're telling me what you want from me. Why can't I tell you what it is I want from you? Or why don't you come to me and tell me what it is you can do for me that will make me want to do what it is you want done for you? Like, it can't just be like, just because you want to, just because it's your birthday. I don't give a fuck if it's your birthday. I don't care. And it's not to be insensitive, but that's just not what I'm concerning myself with. There's, how many billion people are in the world, honestly? How many birthdays is that? Am I supposed to care about all of them? Because I don't, and I'm not going to pretend I do, and that's probably never going to happen in my entire life. I kind of know me, and I know that that's not the way that it's going to work out. So anyway, when it came to LA Comedy Club, I behaved like a professional. I would never show up with any kind of bad attitude, like I said, because, like I said, I had been asked to be there by more than one person. And so my feeling really when I walk in is I want the show to be a success, because I don't want to be part of a boring situation. I don't want to come out for nothing. In case you can't tell, I did do my hair. I did fill in my eyebrows. I made a night of it. I brought one of my good purses along with me tonight. I brought the Gucci. And so it wasn't like I was treating this like I was, wanting it to fail or anything like that. Even though Matt and Joaquin, like I said, I don't have the best relationship with them right now. I'm not wishing failure on anybody, because failure to any real part of the Las Vegas comedy scene right now is a little bit of failure for all of us, because then we have one less room and however many less opportunities. And I'm not saying LA Comedy Club is going anywhere, but there's a chance anything can go somewhere. We found that out with COVID. Like, so many businesses went under, and some businesses were smart enough to make the adjustments. LA Comedy Club was one of them. They had us performing in the corner, and that's what we had to do because of COVID restrictions. And some people weren't the best at it. I personally excelled in it, which is all that anybody should worry about when it comes to me, is how I do and how my comedy is. And like I said, there are parts of me that do feel a particular way about that situation, because I know for them it doesn't feel like anything, but for me, I know what was going on, and I know what people were trying to do at that time, and people were really trying to make it seem like I was going through some kind of episode, and I was just like, episode of what? I've never been diagnosed with anything. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing to be going through an episode of. I guess I was going through an episode of not putting up with somebody's bullshit while they were trying to pull some backhanded stuff and also trying to steal my jokes at the same time. But to me, it also makes no sense that you would have two comedians, one that's not causing drama, the other one that's always talking about the other one causing drama, but you're seeing that the other one isn't causing drama. So it's just this person trying to drop this suggestion in your head, so-and-so's making problems right now. So-and-so hasn't been around. So-and-so couldn't possibly be making problems because he's not around. And I don't spend my time when I'm away from the comedy clubs or the comedy venues. I'm not spending my time like bugging about people or trying to make it so people don't get work. Me and you can have a personal argument, and then I can still go to work and not ever say anything about you, because it shouldn't affect our professional relationship. Our personal relationship is different than our professional relationship. Maybe I don't fuck with you in regular life, but maybe I have to go ahead and deal with you in a professional setting. Like tonight, Tanner Tuttle is working for the LA Comedy Club now, and so he was in charge of seating. So when I walked in, Drew, who I have a really good relationship with, he's Matt Chavez's brother, and me and Drew have always been super cool. So when I walked in, I told Drew, asked Drew, I was like, where do you guys want me to sit? Like I said, it was my first time in the new room, so I didn't know the way things worked, and I didn't know what they were doing, and I'm willing to respect whatever the rules are of the room. And so Drew was like, go talk to Tanner and ask him where he wants you to sit. Well, Tanner's in charge of the seating. I'm not going to pull some bitch shit and walk up to Drew and be like, I don't really like Tanner because he said something at my birthday a couple weeks ago that I didn't really appreciate. So could you seat me instead? No, I just walked up to Tanner and asked him in a professional manner where I was supposed to sit. Tanner, to his credit, I will 100% give credit where it's due. Tanner was very, very professional in telling me not only where I could sit, but that there was also another option for me. I ended up sitting where he said I could sit. Coincidentally, Summer was sitting in that same little aisle, which she was trying to make a thing of, sit over there, Budsy, sit over there. Like, trying to make Budsy sit between me and her. And it's like, bitch, I don't know who you're mistaking yourself for, but I wouldn't approach you or say anything to you because I really don't care about you. Like, that podcast I put out, that episode I put out, was the last bit of me caring even a little bit about Summer Sinclair. So a lot of people may try to turn that into me bullying somebody. No, I was honestly giving somebody the best advice that I could possibly give them. Stop getting under people's skin. Stop putting people on the spots. Because the other thing I was going to say about Summer, that's one of her regular things that she does, is she'll ask people about doing spots in their comments, which is not the way you ask somebody. Even if somebody wants to book you, they don't want you asking them in their comments, because then they've got to say yes in the comments, and then there's going to be at least 10 other comedians that are going to be like, well, what about me? Can I get a spot? Hey, I've been wanting to get a spot. And so it just turns into a mess. And so everybody knows that you just don't do that. Sketches, there have been sketches that people have shot and they post their sketches, and Summer is like, I want to do one of your sketches on the comments. It's like, that's not the way you do that. It's just not the way it works. So me letting her know that even though I did it on a podcast, which is supposed to be fun and entertaining. I mean, like, I don't know where these people get this idea that you're not supposed to promote yourself or that we're not supposed to do anything to elevate the visibility of the Las Vegas comedy scene. Like, how is anybody supposed to know that we're here if we're not promoting things good and bad? It's just what it is. I've had so many people say such terrible things about me, and I don't make a big thing of it. I come back and I make content of it is what I do. And the content turns into clicks, the clicks turns into money, and that's the way that's supposed to work. So, like I said on my Facebook post today, if you don't understand the show and the business part of it, then I don't know what you're doing, and I don't really want to associate with you, and that's not something I'm going to concern myself with. Like, either you get it or you don't. Either I get it or I don't. It's not about feelings. There's not really a lot to be had in the way of feelings, and I found that out when, like I said, I thought I was friends with so many people, and then so many people literally turned their backs on me. And there were several, more than several. The majority really didn't. I think it just jars you, the ones that do, and especially when you feel like the ones that do turn on you. It's like, yeah, I've been friends with you for the entire time I've been coming to Las Vegas. And you turn on me, and then this other person that maybe I don't know as well, but I guess technically we have a better connection apparently, so we're able to not have that be a deal. But people that I've been knowing for years have to completely turn their backs on me. They can't be arbitrary in any way. They can't just decide, hey, I'm neutral, and just say that like an adult. No, they have to turn it into, we obviously have to smear Thai Rivera's name because Thai's actually telling the truth about some fuck shit that's going on. Because that's the only thing I've done is called out fuck shit. I haven't done anything. And I'm also supposed to talk about Dee-Lila. She needs to tighten that corset if she's going to be wearing it. I've said that a million times, but that bitch doesn't like to listen. At some point, which, you know, because fuck shit is what made me think of Dee-Lila. I swear that girl is so ridiculous and doesn't even realize it. And doesn't even realize that at this point, she's practically working for me. Like, that's what that's turned into. Whether she realizes it or not, she is really working for me, and I have got a lot of rent-free space in her head. A lot. And all I have to do is just maneuver being me, and she'll go ahead and sell it for me. So thank you, Employee of the Month, Dee-Lila. I will be talking about you soon, and just giving you your semi-annual review. You know, like, you obviously want to work for me. I'm going to let you know how I think you're doing and where I think you're fucking up and where I think you could be doing better. If you want the job, you've definitely got it. You've been promoting me for a while now. You earned it. You took the old school approach of just start working, and you started working, and guess what? I'm willing to have you on the team in that capacity, so you can stay all the way away from me. You can continue to think that you're doing something. I don't know what you think you're doing. Like, you know, I really don't. I don't know if she thinks she's like doing some kind of mental sabotage or something. Not smart enough for that. Not way. I mean, like, I was getting mind fucked by a psychiatrist I was dating when I was like 19 years old, and I was even good at navigating that, even though he did break my heart because I thought we were actually together. But anyway, I don't really care about what anybody's doing or anybody's saying. As long as people are making content and continuing to promote things, even if they're promoting things for me inadvertently, I'm 100% fine with whatever anybody does. And what people have to remember about me is, in most cases that I hang out, at the end of the day, I do have some kind of say in how much I'll be bothered by you, just in the way that I am a good comic and I am a good customer when I actually buy things, when I actually get things. I do tip. I drink a lot of water, so I pay way too much for bottles of water in a lot of cases, but people know that I do conduct myself in a respectable manner. So if you get on my nerves bad enough and I just get like, yeah, this person really won't leave me alone, because some of the stuff that Dee-Lila does when we're person to person is creep shit. You know, like, you think about it in terms of male to female. If I was standing over a woman's shoulder just being like, yeah, this loser motherfucker, this failure, we're not gonna have failures, and really trying to, like, directed at them, people would be like, why don't you leave her alone, creep? And I think that that's the same thing a lot of people are going to end up really feeling about Dee-Lila, because I already had somebody witness it just 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, where she was really trying to like go at me, but I wasn't paying attention to her. And then I heard it and I was like, oh, I guess that's directed at me. But I went back to not paying attention because there's nothing to pay attention to over there. You're not my friend. You're not somebody I dated. We weren't a family. There's nothing about you that I need to pay attention to. So it's sort of like I've talked about on the road before. Like me and Bijou go on the road together, and sometimes Bijou will hear some noise and she'll jump up and and then I'll be like, baby, chill out. Let's go back to sleep. It's okay. You know, I'll look and make sure it's okay. And then Bijou goes right back to sleep. Well, my mind does a similar thing in situations like what Dee-Lila was doing the other day when we were at Champagne's. You know, she was saying that shit, and at first I didn't realize it was even directed at me. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. I guess that is directed at me. But once my mind identified that it was like, oh, it was just Dee-Lila trying to fucking I don't know who that's effective with, but do her magic. And then my brain just goes back to like, yeah, sleep mode. Don't pay attention to that at all. It doesn't matter. She doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll give you guys some real gossip in the ones coming up. I know it, but right now I'm a little bit tired, and I just want to say that show was absolutely excellent tonight. Congratulations to Leah Mendez, Kitty Pineapple, Kimberly Clark, Nikki Carr, and Kira Sultanovich. Also the guys at the LA Comedy Club and Butch Bradley. Everybody did a great job, pulled together. It was a great show, and I hope you guys all have a great day. Stay unbothered. This has been Thai Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.